This is what happens when Formula One drivers drive other cars. Starting with the day when Max Verstappen and Yuki Tsunoda swapped their Formula One cars for monster trucks. It all happened at a Red Bull event where drivers raced the most random vehicles imaginable, and this time was no different.
I'm gonna race F1's shortest driver.
That's not true.
In these mega trucks.
Okay, no way we're driving this one, right? Hopefully I can reach to the throttle. I mean, I hope you can jump in. I know.
Verstappen wasn't wrong because just look at the effort it took Yuki to climb into the monster truck. But once inside, the challenge was completely different, driving this beast. And to avoid messing up during the race, the two decided to do a test drive by crushing several cars along the way. And, as if all that adrenaline weren't enough, when the race began, Red Bull had lined up a challenge truly worthy of the drivers. From a distance, the course looks like a simple triangle, but right from the start, they'd have to jump over several cars and tackle the muddy, uneven terrain. And since neither Max nor Yuki had ever driven a monster truck before, the race was bound to be absolutely hilarious.
Go, 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 go. Oh, no! No, it turned off! Oh. It's counting! It's counting!
What rotten luck, but hang on, it didn't end there. After a bit of help, he managed to start the truck, and that's when the race really got underway. Yuki was clearly scared stiff, but Max didn't cut him any slack and had a good laugh at his expense.
Q3, Yuki, you made it to Q3. I think it's going to be quite tough to beat. I mean, Yuki has a weight advantage as well.
But the teasing didn't last long because now it was Max Verstappen's turn to show off his talent. But who do you reckon managed the best time?
So Yuki with a 58.37.
This slow. Okay.
I'm not so sure.
And Max's time, they have a 55.
Oh, well, it's close. It's close.
Blimey, that was a close one. But that was just the qualifiers. And now the real race is about to begin. And this time it would be even tougher because they have to race side by side. But hang on, that's nowhere near the biggest challenge you'll see today. Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda have already raced in tiny little boats. But first, let's see what went on in that monster truck showdown. Even though he started from the back, Yuki shot into the lead in no time and didn't give Verstappen a chance. But the worst part was that Max wouldn't win that race, even if he wanted to, because soon after, this happened.
Box, Max, box, box, box.
While Max was grappling with a mechanical failure, Yuki seized the opportunity and floored the accelerator. Max didn't stand a chance. After what happened, Yuki won easily and took home a trophy.
Thank you.
But on another day, Verstappen and Yuki had a swamp buggy race. The outcome was really impressive. But first, let's take a look at that hilarious moment when Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda raced in tiny little boats. When it comes to Formula One, we already know they're among the world's best drivers. So who will be the best out on the water? That's what Red Bull set out to discover on that day. But before that, the two had to learn how to pilot the mini boat and of course find out what the grand prize was.
What does the winner get?
This is what our winner will receive.
Well, I can't celebrate
I'm
yet.
serious.
Just like in the monster truck race, we'll have qualifying rounds here too. Daniel was the first to take the mini boat for a spin, and his run was completely hilarious. As soon as he climbed out of the water, the driver shared everything he thought about the race and even gave his rival a few tips.
Upturns, no fun.
Okay.
Seem to bog it down a little bit.
Okay, so it will look really clean.
Think of like a rental car.
Okay.
You know, not
Yeah,
much
yeah.
power. That's my advice.
And after all those tips, it's now Yuki's turn to showcase his full talent in qualifying.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
Oh, he got.
Now it's time to see who got the best time.
40 seconds lap time we have Yuki Tsunoda. 49 seconds time we have Jenny.
But will Yuki be as lucky in the race? Have a look at what happened. There was no way around it. Despite Daniel pulling off some truly impressive overtakes, in the end it was Yuki who took the Red Bull trophy home. But that's nothing compared to what George Russell had to drive.
Oh my god!
In just one day, the driver went from a British double-deck bus to driving the world's smallest car. And along the way, he even had to drive an ice cream van and a taxi. All of this to answer the question, can a Formula One driver handle any type of car? The answer might surprise you, starting with this double-decker bus.
Laps out around the field.
First challenge complete, but I reckon a 1963 bus is hardly a worthy test for George Russell. But what could he possibly do with an ice cream van?
No! Oh, what a start! Oh my god! Alright.
This time, George definitely managed to go a lot faster, but stopping to serve ice cream surely affected his lap time.
Look at that. What an awful looking thing that is. He's off, bye!
But he'll surely do well with this next car, an English taxi.
How's the ride back there, sir? Is the temperature
It's
good?
just quite relaxing, I have to say.
I think that was good. Whoa!
What was that all about?
How are we gonna do?
Cross the line, like it.
But how do you think he'll fare in a car with only 3 wheels, one of the smallest in the world? Before him, Johnny decided to give it a go and showed that driving a car like this is much harder than people think.
Oh, that was horrible. I've got to lean on this. Stop. Ouch. That was scary.
Driving a car like that must be so much fun, but now it's George Russell's turn.
Oh, oh yeah. Whoa, oh. Yeah, He missed it. Oh, nice, nice. Stop.
Oh my god! Oh.
Apart from the door opening in the middle of the race, he actually did pretty well. But you know what could be even more fun? The day when 4 Red Bull drivers had to race using mini delivery trucks. Unlike the other races we've seen so far, this one has a Japanese game show theme, so of course the rules are completely different from a normal race. To start, the drivers were split into 2 teams, Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez against Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson. Instead of just one race, they had to face several challenges. And to find out what the challenge would be, Max Verstappen had to draw lots.
Reverse parking.
For many people, parking has never been an easy task, but do Formula One drivers struggle with it too? That's what we're about to find out, starting with Sergio Perez.
It's all about the parking, though.
Yuki easily won the first challenge, but get ready because the next one promises to be even crazier.
Delivery drivers.
Driving blindfolded on a track full of obstacles, all while the path is lined with boxes. And to make it even harder, for every box knocked over, the team faces a 2-second penalty. Since the AlphaTauri team won the previous challenge, this time they start. But no one expected them to begin in such a hilarious way. Liam managed to knock over all the boxes at the finish line. As much as the Red Bull team is celebrating watching that, now it's their turn. And this time, Max Verstappen will be the one driving blindfolded. There's the proof that Max Verstappen is one of the best drivers in the world. He can even win while blindfolded. But even he will have to fight hard if he wants to win the next challenge.
10-pin bowling.
You're not seeing it wrong. They'll have to play bowling with the mini delivery trucks, and Max will be the first. Max managed to knock down 8 pins, but will the AlphaTauri team have the same luck? After that, the AlphaTauri team came out victorious in yet another challenge. But now, the real race is about to begin. For this challenge, the drivers will have to navigate through a series of obstacles and even make a few deliveries along the way, which will definitely make everything even funnier. This time, it seems Yuki wasn't as lucky, and the winner was Max Verstappen's team. But now let's see what happened when Max Verstappen and Yuki Tsunoda raced in swamp buggies. Until recently, Max and Yuki had never seen a vehicle like this in their lives, and now they're going to learn how to drive it while competing to see who's the best. And they won't be the only ones. Red Bull also invites champion Jet Lawrence and professional skateboarder Zion Wright. And to make the competition even more intense, this time there won't be teams, just 2 semi-finals and 1 final. All of this on a track completely different from what the drivers are used to. For the first semi-final, Max and Zion competed to see who would perform better. Zion managed to gain quite a bit of speed at the start, but when it came to the turn, Verstappen's experience shone through, and he easily took the lead, which was a shame for Zion, who ended up soaking wet. In the next semi-final, it was Yuki's turn to face motocross champion Jet Lawrence. What a slip-up! Jet couldn't even get moving. With that, it was easy for Yuki to make it to the final. And speaking of the final, who's going to come out on top, Verstappen or Tsunoda? Verstappen gave it a try, but Yuki was incredibly fast and won the race with ease. Even so, Max still managed to give his rival a tough challenge at the end. For the next challenge, 4 drivers will compete to see who would make the best lifeguard using buggies.
Max is really moving with some momentum tonight.
This time, Red Bull managed to create an even crazier challenge for their drivers, with a race completely different from what they're used to. They divided the drivers into 2 teams, Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez against Yuki Tsunoda and Daniel Ricciardo. And they kicked off with a hilarious challenge.
Teams will take turns to race to the other side of the beach on their buggy, set up the flags, hook up the Sea-Doo, and return to the start-finish line. The team to do this the quickest wins the challenge.
This time, Max and Sergio were the first to participate, but what caught everyone's attention wasn't their driving. It was what happened when Max tried to plant the flags. I think of all of Max's races, this must have been one of the most exhausting. But now it's his turn to watch his friends make fools of themselves. The AlphaTauri car seemed faster, but after the time Yuki lost climbing onto the jet ski, there was no way victory went to the Red Bull team. In this case, Lewis Hamilton tried his luck in a supersonic jet.
Turn. Do a squeeze by pulling back on the stick and we'll start feeling some G.
Since he was a child, Hamilton has always been passionate about engines, so when it comes to cars, he's simply a genius. But this time he went far beyond, learning how to pilot a jet alongside the Polaris space program instructor John Baum. But by far the biggest challenge was the gravitational force, from 4 to 6 Gs, meaning 4 to 6 times the weight of your own body pressing against the seat. A person without training would pass out quickly, and even though Hamilton has experienced this in Formula One several times, this time the challenge would be much greater.
Yeah, you got this. You want to do some G turns? Do a squeeze by pulling back on the stick and we'll start feeling some G. You see the G meter there above? So you want to try to go for 6? Let's do it. All right, here we go. There we go.
Thanks to his experience as a Formula One driver, Hamilton managed to withstand an incredible 7.5 Gs. Imagine carrying the weight of 7 Hamiltons all at once. That's pretty much what his body felt in that moment. We know that Formula One drivers are incredibly talented at driving at high speeds, but can they drive a car in reverse? On that day, Max and Yuki had the tough task of driving a DAF Variamatic, which can reach up to 120 km per hour in reverse, which, as you can imagine, is incredibly difficult. But to make it easier for the drivers, they could have a qualifying round to test the car, and whoever was the fastest would earn the pole position, starting with Yuki, who made a fool of himself and had everyone laughing. What a slip-up! And the worst part is that he couldn't get past a single obstacle and even damaged the car. But Yuki's bad luck was Max's good fortune, because now he could drive without any pressure. But the race didn't end there. Red Bull arranged another car for Yuki to compete in the main race, giving him a chance to redeem himself. There was no stopping him. In the end, Max won the race.
Thank you, guys.
But what happens when Formula One drivers race in a hovercraft? On that day, Red Bull took its best drivers to the Nevada desert. Once again, it was the Red Bull team, with Max and Sergio against Yuki and Daniel from the AlphaTauri team. But if they were already struggling with other vehicles, driving the hovercraft proved to be much worse. The first drivers were from AlphaTauri, and it was clear from the start just how complicated it was to pilot that thing. Any mistake and the vehicle would start spinning completely, making them lose precious seconds. But now it's Max Verstappen's turn to drive. Even Max couldn't master a vehicle like that. Still, he managed to beat the AlphaTauri team with a 6-second lead. But hold on tight, because the next challenge is going to be incredibly fun.
Let's go, Daniel. You got it. You got it. So you guys, don't rush, don't rush. Don't touch the pole. Max is strong. No! What happened? Put on your
Verstappen blatantly cheated, and the worst part is he still lost. But now it's time to swap drivers and see who's going to win the challenge.
Go slow, go slow.
Yeah. Oh, don't spin too much. Yeah, like that. Yes, okay.
Yeah, just don't touch it. We're good. We're good.
Both managed 2 laps, but at least neither of them had to cheat. Though for Sergio Perez, maybe cheating would have been better. Just look at what happened.
Right?
couple of times.
Couple of times.
Bit of rubbing.
Penalty points, guys.
Thanks to the penalty points, the Red Bull team ended up as the losers. But he still has a chance, because the next challenge will decide the winner.
Each team will need to make their way through the course with one driver. Upon completing the first lap, the hovercraft must come to a complete stop before the drivers switch. The first team to complete the 2 laps wins. Precision is key, as any accidental collision with the pillars, are you listening, will result in a 2-second penalty added to the team's overall time.
Once again, Max and Daniel competed against each other, and Max fell behind. But that's not even the worst part. What happened to Sergio Perez right after was absolutely humiliating. Out of nowhere, Sergio lost control, and the situation got so bad that he couldn't even finish the race. But the problem wasn't a lack of skill. Unfortunately, Red Bull had to abandon the race because of that failure. Once again, AlphaTauri came out as the champions.